know someone down the bottom has an awesome spot.
Welcome back to Vail, Colorado in the Burton US Open of snowboarding. I am Louis Vito, and I hope you are ready. It's the granddaddy of them all, men's halfpipe finals. We have 10 of the world's best snowboarders competing, including Scotty James, who is looking to keep his season undefeated. But it was the young 17-year-old Yuto Tatsuka that took the win. So make sure you don't move a muscle. Men's halfpipe finals begins now.
Welcome to live looks at Vail, Colorado. 8,000 feet of joy. Will you look at that? 600-foot super pipe ready to be attacked in the men's final at the 2019 Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships, built by snowboarders for snowboarding. Sal Masekela here with Tina Dixon. Guys, I'm a little bit excited about this competition, T-Bird. But the weather is a bit of a factor.
It is indeed, and it moves fast up here at 8,300 feet in Vail, Colorado. So I think the riders are going to want to come out swinging for run one.
Indeed.
Anything can happen. You
see, pretty warm today, 42 degrees. We woke up to a bunch of snowfall, thinking, okay, maybe it's just going to dump. So far, it stayed pretty cool. We're dealing with a little bit of flat light, but the Doppler radar for the entire state of Colorado is just snow and lots of it. When it shows up today, and if it'll be a factor in the men's final, we will see. The big story, of course, is Scotty James being undefeated all season. He did not qualify first. Mr. Tatsuka decided, let me get and grab that. How does that affect Scotty's mindset overall? Well, when you think about where he's come from in the last 5 years, he's ready for this.
Years ago, I wanted to quit. I didn't like snowboarding. I felt like I was letting everyone down. I became insecure about what people thought of me. All those things really impacted how I was snowboarding. About 18, 19, I decided that I was just sick of being another person in the field.
Frontside double. Yes! His second X Games gold medal.
Mr. Perfect has not lost an event this season.
Scotty really has become the best halfpipe rider in the world because he's worked so hard and he's pushed his limits beyond what a lot of people do, and I think that's why he's so good.
We are at the US Open. It's my last competition.
And today we have men's halfpipe semifinals.
It'd be nice to stand up at the top of every podium this year.
We have so many young riders coming up, all trying to chase the undefeated Scotty James.
Oh, Yuto Tatsuka, what is he going to do?
And just like that, we got a new leader.
Scotty needs to get into the 90s.
Oh man, that was big.
89.1.
Just under Yuto.
I saw disappointment in his face, like he wanted that #1 qualifier spot.
Regardless of how it turns out, I'll still be happy and I'll still be proud, and you know, I'll probably be a little bit pissed off as well if it didn't work out, but that's competing.
And here we go in run one. You love the fact that a competitor like Scotty James, unafraid to wear his heart on his sleeve. He is here to win. He wants this. But right now, how about the most stylish man in the field, a legend, Dani Davis, saying that Scotty James is the best halfpipe rider in the planet right now. Here comes Dani Davis from Truckee, Hella Lake Tahoe, and he's about to do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, Dani is an absolutely incredible snowboarder. I mean, I can't think of a bigger compliment for Scotty James than Dani Davis calling Scotty the greatest pipe rider on earth, because there are a lot of people that are huge fans of snowboarding that will consider this man right here the greatest half-pipe snowboarder alive, because his approach, his outlook, and his ideology in the pipe is so creative and so amazing.
He is called your favorite snowboarder's favorite snowboarder, and this is why.
Backside 360 into the Pop-Tart frontside nose bone, coupling that with a massive McTwist. And then the frontside double cork 1080. Dani Davis is a throwback to what half-pipe riding has always represented: creativity, style, and amplitude. And what a way to kick off half-pipe finals.
That was the best I have seen him ride this entire week, whether it was practice or semifinals. The highlight for me was that giant McTwist that he did midway through the pipe, but it was packed full of style and technical difficulty, just like that backside 360.
And look at that Pop-Tart frontside nose bone from Dani Davis into the McTwist. What it is, it's a mix of old and new. It's a throwback to the style of pipe riding from years ago, and it is mixed in with the progression of pipe riding today.
And really what he does so magically is takes the building blocks, the very tenets, the structure of what snowboarding is, does it at the highest level with the most amount of style, so that those tricks that you call old school are just as difficult.
Exactly.
And for the judges to balance that out with the fact that he says, okay, I gave you all this, and here's all the future at the bottom, no one else is going to do a run like that.
That's the whole buffet. That is the full spectrum of competitive half-pipe riding. And I just have to call out that first hit backside 3. That is the most blind trick that you can do in a half-pipe. And when you're talking about a game of inches, you know, between decking out or landing in the flat bottom, that is a terrifying first hit.
And it's one thing to do those tricks, but to do it with amplitude and execution like he did, whole different story.
79.6, getting the high five from Mark McMorris down there at the bottom. And there you see our start list. What an incredible field. 5 different countries, only 2 Americans in the midst of that. We have 2 competitors from Japan, 1 Korean, 1 Canadian, 2 Australians. Like this is the We Are the World of the Burton US Open of snowboarding. Here comes Derrick Livingston, 28 years old, out of Aurora, Canada.
Starting things off with the frontside 12 into the backside 360.
And that's a switch backside 900. Into the cab double cork 1080. And a frontside 10 to finish things off. Wow, first runs, 2 riders. And so far.
Why did we get fired up for finals day? It's because it just always goes up a level. These riders have been like locked in cages and fired up.
That was a big trick to start out with, that frontside 1260, but watch that, the backside 360 stealthfish, and it sets himself up for a switch backside 900. That last rotation seems to eke it around. And then the cab double cork 1080 lands high on the wall and gets the speed to head into the frontside 1080. Look at the size of that.
And what happened here, in my estimation, is that Dani Davis just rocketed this final into the stratosphere.
Now we'll look at the overall impression score that comes in for Derrick Livingston, 78.1. So that'll put him
strong right up there with Dani.
Think about the last time you guys saw a half-pipe final where the first 2 runs were 79.6 and a 78.1.
That's a really great point. Usually we're talking about low 70s, high 60s. But hey, this is the level.
Buckle up. It's going to get crazy.
Up next is Quine Ki Lee from Gyeonggi-do, Korea. 25 years of age, rode really well in the semifinals. You got Red Gerard out there. Got the Leica out trying to get the shot. Love that you see the who's who from slopestyle. Front seat as the snow is lightly starting to fall again here.
And what happened there right at the start? That's so unfortunate. He does get 2 more runs, but you rarely see that happen.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Quine Ki Lee, you're not in panic mode. Like you said, Tina, 2 more runs, a lot of points to be garnered in that gigantic half pipe. But yeah, it went wrong for Quine Ki Lee there, and I think you're a little bummed. You're not stressing, you're not panicking. But yeah, that is a heartbreaker.
He's a really good rider. He competed in Sochi as well as Pyeongchang. Watch hit the heel edge, and it looked like he just dug that heel edge into the snow, and there was some soft snow right there.
And that's when you just wish for the old school first wall rebate. Get to hike back up and do it again. But like you said, Quine Ki Lee will figure out a way to shake it off. One of the best riders in the world, and he knows how to do so. And we are hyped to welcome. Look at Jake Burton down there at the bottom holding court.
The Godfather, the man that started it all.
And let's not count out his other stronger half.
Oh yeah, Donna.
Donna Carpenter. As we welcome Toby Miller.
Yeah.
From Truckee, Colorado.
Welcome.
Hello, welcome to you, sir.
How's it going, guys? Thank you for having me.
First of all, we know that you'd rather be competing.
Yes, of course.
What are you dealing with?
I broke my wrist into a lot of different pieces in our last contest in Calgary, Canada. So unfortunately not competing here, but very excited to be sitting here with you guys announcing the runs.
All right, well, we welcome you and your elite perspective as Ruka Hirano is about to drop in. What do you know about this kid?
This kid kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, the first time I saw him was back in New Zealand this past fall, and he is a silent but deadly snowboarder. He has the tricks, he has the style. He could win this event out of nowhere, and I am very excited to watch this run.
And that's what you got to love about this final, right? Just like we saw in the women's final, like whoever your favorite is, it doesn't mean it's a shoe-in for the win.
And then even going to men's and women's slopestyle, Red Gerard taking the win for the men, Zoe Sadowski-Snot for the women.
And once again, just a reminder that this entire broadcast is available on Red Bull TV in Japanese.
That was a big front 10. Into a really large cab double cork 1080. Ooh, the front side double cork 1260. Wow.
That was unbelievable.
Could he have landed that any smoother?
The best part about that run was just the flow from wall to wall and just the consistent amount of amplitude. 16 years old. Look how smooth this frontside 900 is.
That was ridiculously large.
And I love he just stalls out this backside 540.
I was like in between the Michael Chuck and 540 range. I really like that.
And it was double grabbed.
Yeah.
Frontside double cork 1080 into the cab, double cork 1080. And now Toby, talk about this right here. Saving your best trick for last. When you stomp it and you hear the crowd and you feel that electricity, what is going through your mind?
Oh man, there's no feeling like it. I mean, you just did the run. You did your hardest trick last. Once you land that, it's all the pressure's off.
And I do like to think they have the hype effect with the judges too.
For sure. The judges, they can hear it. They feel the crowd. Louis, it looks like it is packed down there. I know that you're also tuned in with the crowd around the world watching on Facebook. What are they saying?
You know, for the women's competition, everyone was watching the snowboarding and eating dinner around the world. Now, what better way to spend a Saturday night than watching the US Open? Giannis from Palestine, we got Vanessa from Australia, we have Jerome from France, we have Santiago from Mexico. I mean, the country list just keeps growing.
I love that. As Hirano will go back to the top in that second spot. We see, like, as soon as we went on the air, the snow started falling. Explain for the people at home what that does to the pipe and how that affects you guys' choices when you got new snow in the middle of the event.
Yeah, I mean, when it snows in a contest, it makes things a little tricky. Visibility being the first thing, and it can also make it slower, which it wasn't snowing that hard in practice, but when it comes to snow in the actual event, the speeds can change, you know, the quality of the half pipe can change. It really could make it a whole new half pipe, and that it's very challenging, but these guys are the best in the world, and they know what they're doing. Jake Pates. I'm excited to watch this run.
Playing
Fellow
a home
teammate.
game from Eagle, Colorado. Great skateboarder. And just one of those people that takes the most runs, never not snowboarding.
Yeah, and there's just something about Jake's snowboarding. It's just got a flair to it. It's just got a really good look to it. He's got incredible style, but he also has amplitude and tricks to boot. So the back double 12.
And that's a trick that we typically see him do on the last hit.
Exactly.
So he's decided to take it and put it up at that first hit. Toby, when you do that, when you change your line up, how much does that affect things in the mental game?
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely make it a lot harder. I mean, you see there, that was ridiculously large. I mean, usually he goes double Michael Chuck, or you saw in qualification he did a back 5, and it was definitely safer to do, but doing a bigger trick on your first hit, the judges really like that because it adds a bigger score and it adds a risk factor. As you can see, it was his hardest trick, and he ended up falling on it, so he can't complete the rest of his run.
And that personifies the US Open pipe finals, doesn't it? No safety runs.
No, never.
He went huge on that.
Glad he is okay. He landed deep, took a really hard slam, but nice to see that he is up and ready to go for his next one. Rabu Katayama from Yaizu, Japan. 23 years of age. This dude likes to fly.
I love this kid snowboarding.
Such good style.
He is explosive. And when all cylinders are firing for Rabu, he is a threat in the halfpipe to any competitor. Qualified in 4th place, but he has made it known to many here in Vail, Colorado, that it would be his greatest honor to stand on the top of the US Open podium.
Yeah, he had that nice sound bite where he said it's been a dream of his since he was a kid.
He got 2nd place last year. He really wants that 1st place this year. He's totally capable of doing it too.
Taking a little space for himself before pointing it and coming in hot.
Look at that pre-ollie, landing high on that transition wall, starting things off with a massive backside air grabbing method into the front side 1080 to the moon. And then the cab double 10, front side 900. Backside 1260 from Rabu Katayama, and then the front double 1260. Rabu Katayama just put every competitor at the US Open officially on notice.
That was the best run I have seen him do all season long.
Ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
He said it is his absolute dream since he was a little boy to perform at the highest level here. Speaking of highest level, wow, what are you saying? That's easy 20 feet.
When you have time to roll the windows down once coming out of a method, you know you went 20+ feet out.
He could definitely step that trick up too. He has the frontside double cork 1440 in his belt as well, so he could do that there. That's a new one for him, the tail grab. So stylish on the 900, wow.
And then the combination that he did here at the bottom of backside 1260 and combines it with a frontside double cork 1260. There's the tail grab.
Unreal.
Keeps his hands off that wall. Wow.
You saw Ruka do the double cork 1260 as well in his first run. Rabu did the same trick.
Look at all that blue.
Wow.
To the moon on that height score with the flow to boot. Wow. Setting the standard.
Wow. 90.4. That was,
oh man.
That was ridiculous.
Oh, Louis, talk to the man.
Rabu, that run was amazing. Just tell me the emotions you're feeling right now.
I can't believe what happened to me. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so freaking out.
Well deserved. How do you go? How do you step it up from there?
Higher and higher.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, Rabu. Amazing first run.
Woo! That's what you live for.
That is unbridled joy. He doesn't even know what to say in the interview. He's so psyched.
I just love that he said, "Well, I can go higher."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
with a run like that, I mean, unless he takes it to 14, it's the only thing you can do is go bigger.
That was insane. I mean, I could not be more stoked for Rabu. He is one of my favorite snowboarders. And then you got Pat Bergner. Is he going to do the Berg Air on the first hit? Does anybody even know what that trick really is?
What'd you call it?
It's like a McTwist to fakie almost, or almost like a Michael Chuck to fakie. It's wild.
It's amazing seeing these athletes inventing tricks with the level we're at today.
Yeah. What does that do to you when the first 3 runs are what you just saw and you're next to go?
I mean, it's the US Open final. You have to lay everything out on the table, run one, especially with the snow. You don't know what's going to happen. And there it is, the Berg Air.
Insane.
Wow. The switchback 720. Double Michael Chuck. Nice and easy. Wow, big frontside. Oh.
Not quite enough airtime there, landing hard on the heel edge on his frontside wall. Well, Pat was an incredible story in semifinals because he was down in the 8th or 9th spot going into the final run. And we were like, okay, he probably wants to bump up into that top 5. Qualifies 3rd.
Right.
Put down a burner of a run. And we were like, okay, he's here to play. Pat Bergner wants the win.
Looked like he got off his line kind of right from the start.
And that double Michael Chuck, that was done flawlessly. And here's where things went a little sideways for him. Yeah, just didn't quite get the full rotation all the way around. But fear not, you will see him 2 more runs here in these finals.
The man from Marin, Switzerland, a threat in slopestyle as well.
Whew. Now here we go.
These next 2.
This is gonna get heavy.
If you're not sitting at home, you should sit. You know, Tiger's got his red shirt on Sunday. What has Scotty James got on Sunday?
Don't really have a psych up. Don't really have a ritual. I wear my boxing gloves. That's kind of like my thing. I've got these red mitts, which I always use. That's only on finals day though, because people are like, oh, why don't you have your boxing gloves on semi-finals? And I'm like, no, it's only when I'm coming in for finals that I wear them.
Look at the love that Rabu Katayama's getting from the entire field up in the tent.
Toby, what run do you think we're going to see from Scotty James right now? You're very familiar with his repertoire of runs.
I think we're going to see Scotty's A game right here. I think we're going to see him put it all out on the line right here. Run 1, US Open. Let's see this. Wow, switchback double cork 1080. Into the backside double cork 1260. Oh, he's going for it. Big frontside 1080 with the nose grab. Into the cab double cork 1080, going to the moon. Finishing it off with a frontside double cork 1260, and yep.
Yo!
Came to play.
Hold up, that. All right. This is going to get very, very interesting. Right now, Rabu Katayama sitting on a 90.4. That is, so far, the only run I've seen that might score that high, if not higher.
And the way that Scotty drops in, the fact that he drops in switch, he goes, watch this, switch backside 1080, and he's so high on that. And then he combines it with a backside double cork 1260. So that combination alone.
That's one of the hardest combinations in competitive half-pipe riding right now. There's the frontside 1080, 18 feet out.
Jeez,
that was huge.
So big.
Into the cab, double cork 1080, and this is the moneymaker right here. Frontside double cork 1260.
Held that grab to land.
Scotty came to play.
Oh, wow.
What is going to happen here? Can he move into the lead? Scotty James score coming in.
He did it.
Wow.
He did it.
92 even. Oh, this is going to be fun.
That's a good score for him. I've seen him get up higher at 96, 97. That's what I think he's going to gun for on those next 2 runs, or those high 90s.
Let's not forget he has a switchback double cork 1260 as well, which I believe that will up his score if he decides to put that one out there.
Well, if you're wondering why Scotty James did not qualify first, it's because of this young man, 17 years of age, Yuto Totsuka, who was sitting in 8th place and then on his last run said, "World, you need to know about me." And Scotty James was stunned. Like you heard him say, like, "I wanted that spot." Yeah. And here comes this kid from literally out of nowhere. Can he keep that going?
I mean, this kid, he is one of the best halfpipe riders in the world, and I love to watch him snowboard. I mean, look at that. Frontside 540 double grab on the first hit. Backside 900. Into a big frontside double cork 1080. Into the double grab flat cab 1080. Into the frontside double cork 1260. Wow, hold on.
Okay, so breaking it down, comparing that against Scotty James' run. First hit 540, Scotty did first hit switchback 10. So just based upon that, I think it will come in a little bit lower than Scotty's score, but it's going to be interesting to see where it contends against Rabu Katayama. But that was an unbelievable first run. There's the backside 900.
And we've been saying all week, you know, learning that different riders have different plans, especially when you have a best-of-3 run format. Some people are going to come out and be like, okay, I'm going to do one of my hardest runs off the bat. Some people like to find their flow.
Exactly, and build from there.
And something to keep in mind, Yuto has a frontside double cork 1440 that he has done on that first hit before. Okay. So he can take that 540 and move it up. Yep.
Double 14. Still strong score on the front end. And that will put him in the 3rd spot, just under 6 points behind Scotty James. Excuse me, Rabu and Scotty James. Whew. I need to take a walk.
I mean, how about
take a breath?
How about the country of Japan and the halfpipe riders that they are producing right now,
as well as slopestyle riders?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I feel like that's been such a cool underlying story of this US Open, is seeing the Japanese snowboard factory at work. They are just pumping out world-class snowboarders.
Toby, you finished up on the podium at the beginning of the year in 2nd place at that first Grand Prix, and Scotty James was first. But below that, it was Yuto Totsuka and some of these guys that are just showing us how to compete. When you get to that 2nd run, what is the difference mentally from the first to the 2nd time?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the final and you put down your first run and you have a good score and you have more tricks, you go out and do it, especially if it's the US Open. You want to lay everything out. You don't want to leave anything left behind. You want to come out and you want to win this event, and I think that's what we're going to see in runs 2 and 3. I think we're going to see these guys come out and do 1440s, more 1260s, and I think that was really the thing that set Yuto apart from Scotty and Rabu. He didn't have a backside 1260. I think that's why his score was so much lower. They did 2 12s, he only did 1.
And that's why we like having you in the booth, sir. Before we head into the 2nd runs, we'll check in with Louis and Scotty James.
Scotty, you just moved into 1st place with your first run. How does it feel to put a solid one down?
Feels amazing to put a solid one down. You know, it's actually pretty fast in there. The snow's not really affecting us, so strapped in for a good day. It's going to be an awesome day for Borden, and yeah, it's nice to put the first one down.
Would you say we're just getting started?
I think it's safe to say that, Louis. Yeah, it's going to be a good day. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good luck.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you.
You got to love the measure, the Australian measure, and cheekiness of Scotty James, but don't let the humor fool you. He is fired up, and he is ultra-driven to win this thing and make it a perfect season.
And he's riding on point. He just looks like he's riding on point compared to semifinals where he qualified 2nd. Something seemed a little bit off. Today, it doesn't look like that.
Head back to the top with the wisest man. You guys like run into each other for coffee in Truckee?
You know, I feel like we're never in Truckee. You know, we always see each other when we're not home. You know, we're always on tour, following the contest circuit. He's out there filming, competing.
Yeah, I feel like when Danny's home, he's off the grid. He's in the backcountry. He's splitboarding. He's riding POW.
No one knows where he is when he's back in Truckee.
And that's one of the great things about Danny, right? His ability to ride at this still elite level at 30 years of age, amongst the best in the world in this final. But then from here, like we talked about, he's straight to the backcountry and filming big parts.
Wow. Backside 360. Ooh.
Oh, he landed flat on that one. He just landed a little too far down that transition. But that doesn't mean the show's over. This is what you want to see from Dani Davis. Having fun. Big old McTwist right there.
I love that beautiful knock-kneed style across the flat bottom. It makes you think of Hawken. It's just like, it's old and now, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
And he told me earlier he's been watching some of the older films too of some of the guys and how they piece together combinations and some of those tricks like that McTwist. And what's interesting too, he has not been riding halfpipe. Like, he has not been
Totally.
He hasn't been competing. He's been in the backcountry, like you said, filming. Yet he can still come out here and throw down some runs.
That was sick.
Alley-oop back rodeo.
That's crazy.
Dani Davis rides best when he's having fun.
He does.
It shows.
Yeah. And he's currently sitting in 4th place. Great spot to be if the results hold going into the 3rd and final run.
Yeah, with room to move. Well, Derrick Livingston, on his first run.
Yeah, he put one
solid.
down. It was solid. I think he wanted to just put down a good score. He got a 78.1.
He just came off of a podium up in Calgary, 3rd place at the World Cup out there. So he's feeling good coming into this final.
That was a big result for him too.
Oh yeah.
Very.
So Derrick Livingston dropping into his first hit in run 2. Front side 12. There's that backside 3. Switch backside 720 into the backside 540. And the front side double cork 1080. And he pulls the ripcord. He says, you know what? I put a second one to my feet. Not going to risk it. Because, Toby, you can probably attest to this. It's probably tough to not get greedy when you have that last hit, but you're kind of running out of transition. You're feeling the flow. What's that like when you make that decision?
Yeah, I mean, when you have that extra little hit, it's always so challenging to decide whether you're going to hit it or not, because it really depends on if the judges are going to score if you skipped a hit or if you didn't. And
Exactly.
I like to call it a half hit. Do you take it or do you not? And it's really rider's choice. You
And
know?
then as a pipe rider, you want to take the hit.
You do want to take the hit.
you want to hit it, but you have to be strategic in your decision making.
He switched his run up a little bit. He went switchback 720 instead of the switchback 9. I don't know
Yeah.
if that was strategy, or it almost looked like the pipe slowing down a little bit.
It looked to me like he didn't have the height that he had in the first run on that trick.
So as we discussed, perhaps that new snow playing a little bit of a factor. Of course, in between runs 2 and 3, they'll do the best to get that thing slipped and as fast as possible. As we welcome back in Quine Ki Lee from Jeonju-do, Korea.
This kid is a talented snowboarder.
And he had a shocker in his first run.
Yes.
Like literally like some sort of weird snow snakes grabbed him across the flat bottom, didn't even make it to the first wall. Got to shake that off, put it out of his mind, and do what he knows how to do.
See what he's got for run 2. Big old backside air. Oh. Still going for it.
He sent that one to the deep end. Front side 9 into the backside 540.
Front side 1440.
How about that?
Wow. Into the cab double 1080.
Okay, so we just got a taste of what we might see from Quine Ki Lee in run 3. Unfortunately, sent that first hit backside air almost to dead flat.
What does that do to your head when 2 runs in a row, the first wall, completely throws you.
I mean, it definitely adds a lot of unwanted stress going into run 3, because that really puts it out there where you have one run to put it out and land it and get on that podium. And, you know, I'm sure he would have loved to put down one run and have a safety run and then be able to step it up, but you know, it's the name of the game sometimes. Now he has to go out there and throw his hardest run.
If I'm Quine Ki Lee, though, I'm finding the silver lining in the cloud and saying, hey, I held on to that.
Right.
I sent it to flat, but I held on.
Right.
I stayed on my feet.
We'll check in with Louis right now. Louis, Kent Callister was set to go in our lineup. We heard that he had an injury in practice. What's the update?
When I was talking to him up at the rider's tent at the top of the course, he told me that he fell doing a double cork and landed right on his rear end and really took one to the tailbone. He didn't know if he was going to take all his runs, a couple of his runs, but he was in a lot of pain, throwing some water on his face, trying to get mentally ready, but definitely was in some pain.
All right, well, we'll see if he opts to take that last run. That's got to be a real slam.
I witnessed it. I was actually in the judge's booth, just kind of watching practice, seeing how the pipe was running. It was pretty nasty.
Is this him right here? Is he taking the run?
Yes, that is him. So he's decided to do it. Go for it. And, you know, we were talking to Kelly Clark earlier in the women's competition, and she said it's 30 seconds. You work so hard, and if you can manage it to get that run done, you do it.
Yep.
We saw Chloe Kim do just that, unable to walk. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. That really heroic to step up in the manner that she did, and unable to walk and lose by under a point. But shout out to Kent Callister deciding he is going to dig deep.
He's looking focused. He's looking like he wants to put down a run here at the US Open.
Yeah, he's the Iron Man of halfpipe finals right now. And yeah, it's like kind of like you said, Sal. It's you got to shake it off. You can't let that dwell in the back of your head. You got to clear your headspace, put on some tunes, focus, just drop in.
Clearly what he's doing right there, just really trying to find that space. When you're coming back from that sort of an impactful slam that makes you like skip a run, how do you shake it off, Toby?
You know, when you do take a slam like that, you really need to take a step back, recoup, come back, and treat it like a whole new day. It really helps, and I think that's what Kent's doing right here. We're about to find out. Yes, he is, with that big air to fakie on that first hit.
That was gigantic, and I don't know if you guys heard it at home, but the crowd was basically giving him a standing ovation. They're all clapping when he dropped in because they were all there for that slam in practice. And he ends it strong, frontside double cork 1080. That first hit, air to fakie, was unreal.
And that could not feel good to go straight back down to his tailbone.
This air to fakie is massive.
That could have been a situation too where, I mean, he landed hard on his heels. That could have hurt.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to pull out, but no, he continued on with some tricks, including this frontside double cork 1080 at the end.
Hopefully that didn't hurt him too much on the rear end.
And then just riding out of the pipe is, ugh.
He's moving pretty good. He's running.
He's fired up.
I think we're going to see a good third run from Ken.
He is choosing to focus on what he needs to get done. And you just gotta give it to him. You know, that's that warrior mentality to dig all the way in. Ruka Hirano, 16 years of age.
Sal, he has a backside double cork 1260, I hear.
Chances are.
Are we gonna see it?
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna go with yes. Remember, we got the simulcast in Japanese happening on Red Bull TV right now as Hirano takes to the Vail skies.
Frontside double cork 1440, already stepping it up from run one.
You said that, Toby, that he has that trick.
And he just throws it in the middle of a run and then ends it with a frontside double 12. How casual. That was the most casual 1440 I've ever seen in the pipe.
Going from just the really like fluid 900 to 5 to 1440.
He learned that trick last month at the Copper Halfpipe.
Wow.
From riding with Yuto and Rabu.
That back rodeo double grab and
that thing's crazy.
That was flawless. It was perfect.
And then finishes off the run with a 1260. And if he can clean anything up, it would be this landing and putting those hands down.
And a lot of that, it's hard to tell if it's intentional or impact. I think that was impact. He just went really, really big and traveled super far.
Not to mention, he's out of pipe at that point and carving out heel side to like no man's land.
Yeah.
If this is what he's doing at 16, though.
What's he going to be doing when he's 20?
No kidding.
Making you work real hard.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller.
The Japanese contingency, man, they are so talented. And I love watching them train up on the halfpipe. They are a true team. They are true friends. They're up there pushing each other, and they're having a great time, all learning the same tricks, learning new tricks, and it's fun to watch.
I'm making the comparison to the Brazilian surfers today. Like they have that same sort of mentality, all for one for all, and pushing each other. Now, like when it comes to like real critical maneuvers, big airs, etc., and technically, they're at the top spot, much like the Japanese here.
Well, and for so long, super pipe riding was associated with American riders. U.S. dominated pipe riding for so long, so it's cool to see other countries, you know, Switzerland, Japan, Canada even, stepping up into the big limelight of 22-foot super pipe shredding.
So he's staying in 5th place there. I personally think it was due to the back 5. I think the judges know he has a backside 1260, and I think they really want to see him do it. And I think if he does that into the double cork 1440, I think we're going to see some big scores coming.
What a combination that would be.
Right on. It's crazy that like a big 540 is like holds you back. Like that's what the level is today. There's no place for your snowboarding to hide in this half pipe at the US Open. Big Jake Pates.
Yeah, do not make the mistake of counting this kid out. Even though he is currently in 10th place right now, if he laces one, it is game on.
There it is. There's the landing he was looking for.
Frontside double cork 10. And I think he lost a lot of speed.
He landed deep.
Coming out of that double cork, but that first combo is lethal.
I love the tail grab on that backside double cork 1260. It's so unique.
And that's what I'm talking about with Jake Pates is he's got this X factor about his riding where he's grabbing tail on double cork back 12s. Well, a lot of people tend to go mute.
I was there when he was learning that trick, and he just told me tail grab is his safety grab. It was just what he preferred, and it worked out.
That's crazy because I think people don't understand how hard it is grabbing tail for spins like that.
Well, the judges even told me earlier today that on spins like that, if you're grabbing tail, they actually reward you more because it is that much harder to get the rotation around.
Well, you're opening your body up, right? Which naturally you'd think would slow your spin down. Whereas if you're grabbing mute or stalefish or something, you're staying more compact, which is going to help you spin faster.
Science with T-Bird. We're teaching physics this summer.
The man who just wants to go bigger, Rabu Katayama.
This I am so excited to see this run.
We watched a piece in the semifinals where he said, it is his dream. He was happy to get that runner-up spot last year, but not satisfied. More than anything in all of snowboarding, he wants to win this event. We saw him take the lead away from Scotty James in the semifinals. Will he do it again here in the finals?
This is going to be huge.
Wow.
Come on. That was ridiculous.
Oh.
And that right there, unfortunately, is the price you pay when you're maxing out a 22-foot super pipe.
That backside air was bigger than the first one, right?
That was the biggest backside air I've seen at a U.S. Open, I think, since Sean's last U.S. Open.
I hope they can just hold. Jeez.
That's 20+ feet.
Easily.
Rabu's trying to challenge Sean's world record air from a few years back, I think.
I think so. Sean's sitting at home going, don't do that to me, kid. Don't do that to me.
And then goes for the 1440 on that second hit after that giant air.
He knows. He's letting us know. One more. Oh, it's gonna. Third runs are gonna be so gnarly.
He's either saying one more or pointing to the sky, saying I'm going higher next round.
Probably combo of both. Louis, what are the folks at home saying about this crazy final we're in?
Everybody seems to love it, but Sal, we have a question again from Scott Hargrove, as he calls it Dope Steez episode 2.0. And he wants to know, gloves over the jacket or under the jacket? What's your style? And I'm an over the jacket guy right now.
Oh, man. Our friendship just went down 10 points, Louis. Under the jacket. Unquestionable.
Under the jacket. Although I do have photos of earlier days where they're over the jacket, and I just try to put those photos to the side.
Louis, you disappoint the entire field up here. Toby's shaking his head.
I didn't see that one coming from Louis. He's putting his goggles over his helmet, putting his gloves over the jacket. What's happening out here?
What about the bindings and the pants?
Jeez. I know.
All right.
We love you, Louis.
We still love you.
Thank you, thank you.
Pat Bergner definitely wants to land that, what are we calling it, the Berg flip? He wants
Berg air.
The Berg air. He wants to land that thing solid and show us the rest of what he's got.
He showed it in semifinals.
He really did.
He did.
And he didn't lay it all out there as well. He has the switchback double 1080, just like Scotty James.
All right, will we see the Berg air? Indeed, we will. That trick defies physics. Into the switchback 7. Into the double Michael Chuck. Frontside double cork 1080 and not quite enough airtime.
What is he doing wrong? Is it his pop on that, Toby? Does it look?
You know, it looks like he's really struggling coming out of that double Michael Chuck. It almost looks like he's taking a little bit straighter of a line as he goes up the wall. He's critiquing it just a little bit at the lip. I'd like to see the slow motion, but just off of a first view perspective, that's kind of what it looks like. And when that happens, it makes it so hard to get a trick around.
On a day like today, Toby, where there is snow, it's a little flat light, how important are those die lines while you're in the air in the pipe?
Oh, without those die lines, these guys wouldn't be doing what they're doing, because when it's like this outside, the snow and the sky looks exactly the same. So when you're doing double cork 1080s, 1260s, 1440s, you don't know what's up, what's down, and it's very dangerous. So those blue die lines saves the trick.
Yeah, because you're spotting your landing 2, sometimes 3 times in one trick.
Exactly.
And that ground comes quick.
Oh, it comes very quick, and those blue die lines, they save you. Well, hopefully we'll see him landed on run number 3.
You saw the way Pat stepped out of his board. That body English did not lie.
That J.J. Thomas poaching in the half pipe right now. Look at him go.
Yes! Chest carved down the bottom.
Sebe de Buck.
You know, the first time I ever saw JJ ride was actually here at Vail in the half pipe.
Really?
Because he's from right down the road. He's a Golden boy.
Yep.
Golden, Colorado. There are the gloves.
Like I said, Tiger Sunday red shirt, Scotty with the gloves. And I love it in that interview, he's like, I don't really have any real type of things that I do. However, there are these red gloves that I only wear on Sundays.
Do you think he keeps them in like a vacuum sealed case in his home?
All that I know is ever since those boxing gloves came out, Scotty James has been on the podium.
Well, and then he had that pretty iconic portrait photo, the cover of Transfer magazine over in New Zealand with the gloves hanging around his neck.
That's
Yes, he
dope.
did.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty
dope.
cool.
Scotty James.
Remember, this kid is on a perfect run this season. He has not lost an event, and he wants to complete the full cycle. That was super random. Super random.
That was not Scotty James.
6-pack. I hope someone dials that number and see if it's real. Okay, well, we'll recover from that and get back to snowboarding. Skye James coming in switch.
Oh,
got
Scotty.
thrown off his line right there. Toby, what do you think happened on that second hit right there?
He caught a little bit of the front side of his board on the takeoff, it looked like. And when you catch, it really just stops your rotation. So he did not get the snap he wanted, but you saw how talented of a snowboarder he was. The air awareness was there. He knew exactly what was going on. He opened up. He landed on his feet. He's like a cat. So thankfully he's okay. And
that was my next question to you. How in the world was he able to slow that down and remain calm without panicking in the air?
You know, you see him panic a little bit. There's the edge catch. You see him panic right there. There was a split second in his mind where he wasn't sure where he was going to land, but you know, instincts kick in. Lots of flail in the arms. Everything takes place, and you saw it. He landed on his feet.
And we've talked about that earlier this week. How you guys not only train for your runs, but train for those moments of how do I get myself out of this situation.
Oh, I mean, of course, when you're learning a trick, it never goes to plan at first. You know, I mean, maybe it does sometimes, but usually you mess up, and those mess-ups really can save you in competition. If you don't do the trick how you want to do it in competition, those tries, when you're trying to learn it, really come in.
17-year-old Yuto Totsuka.
Are we going to see the backside 1260?
Louis, chime on in. You think we're going to see
it? 14, Toby. I'm predicting the front double 14 this run.
I agree with you on that one, 100%.
You know, he took a slam in practice too, so I wasn't able to see if it was on the double 14, and that's why maybe he didn't do it first run. But I talked to Hiro up there, who's one of his team managers, and he said he was all good. So I think this might be the time he steps it up. Regular footed rider coming in with that left foot forward into that first hit. There's a huge crippler right there. Right into the backside 900. And there it is right there, the front double 1440. Right into the cab double, just clipping the lip. It looked like he left a little bit early, and when you leave a little early, you don't quite hit the vert, and that's when you have to be worried about clipping the lip a little bit, and that's what happened right there.
Wow.
Well, this is going to make for a very interesting final. Here's the frontside 540 that he started out with in that first run. And here's the 1440. We were talking about this. He was going to do it. Lands it, but loses speed.
That was insane.
I gotta say though, it's gonna be exciting, mostly because he put the pressure on Scotty James in semifinals. Now Scotty James is putting the pressure on him in the finals.
Exactly, because for the third and final run here in men's halfpipe finals, they're going to be dropping in reverse order. So Scotty James back in the driver's seat.
And that's where that veteran championship mentality really comes in. Toby, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, you killed it. Will Scotty James hold on for an undefeated season? We'll be back with run 3 in a bit.
Dani Davis from Highland, Michigan, USA. I'm 30 years old. You know, amplitude, style, trick selection, all of it comes into play, whether it's tech tricks or slowing it down and doing an air to fakie, a beautiful one like Ben Ferguson would do or something. That is snowboarding. There's no right or wrong way to do anything, but when we all start just focusing on the spinning and flipping and getting that next flip, getting that next spin, and not worrying about tweaks and style, that's when snowboarding starts to lose a bit of its soul.
戸塚優斗17歳横浜生まれです。US オープンと X ゲームはちっちゃい頃からずっと夢の大会だったんで、そこで自分が戦えてるっていうのと、で今予選で1位で抜けれたっていうのは本当嬉しいです。
Scotty James, I'm 24 years old and I'm from Warrandyte, Australia. Yeah, it'd be amazing to finish off with a win here. It's one title that I don't have yet, so I'll just come out and do my best and ride the way I want to ride and let the rest just happen. I usually try and start with my hardest tricks first, kind of work my way down, but yeah, that's why I guess it's been going so well for me this year, is doing the switch backside 10 into backside tricks is pretty tough and unique, and not too many people are doing it, so it's working out.
Welcome back to Finals Day at the 2019 Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships. The women set the tone and the men have decided to follow suit. Snowboarding Superpipe in this day and age is crazy. The fact, I just got a text from a good friend of ours, Steve Ruff, and after watching the 2 runs, he just said, dude, all of these kids are animals. I can't believe what we are seeing. Here we are into the 3rd runs right now, and we've reseeded the field. Scotty James will go last in that driver's seat. So smart, the manner in which he decided to just right off the bat
absolutely
set the tone.
You know, because as we said in the beginning of the broadcast here, we might have weather roll in. First run was totally fine. Pipe was running really fast. Second run, it did start to snow, and we saw a couple bobbles in some of the runs. So the visibility, you know, might have been a little bit compromised for some of the riders. But Scotty James came out with one of his best runs, put down a 92, and now he is the most lethal man in the pipe right now when he's dropping last.
And what I like, too, though, is in the past events, Yuto Tatsuka has pushed Scotty James. Like, Scotty James he's like, I need to score a 95 and above because Yuto Tatsuka can knock him out. Rabu Katayama can knock him out. But now I feel like Scotty James has put the pressure on Yuto Tatsuka and some of these other guys. And so it's all in all just brought the level so high.
Well, and kudos to Dani Davis, too. First rider to drop, puts down a 79, one of the sickest pipe runs I've seen out of Dani in years, and that really raised the level of the entire event from the get-go.
He really did set the tone.
Yeah, and with that energy, it becomes contagious. We've had riders in here all week who say, hey, in these situations, we 100% are feeding off each other. It's much easier to come in and do my thing at the highest level when someone else has done it right before me. Here we go. 3rd and final runs.
Come on, bud. Have some fun.
Jake Pates has had a challenging final, but is fully capable. And this is one of those moments where, like, you kind of live for. Can I do it with all the pressure in my final run?
Yeah, and we just saw in the last round, we just saw Jake Pates in the pipe about 4 runs ago, so he's got some fresh legs underneath him. Jake Pates is linking it right now. Cab double cork 1080.
Look at the size.
Oh! What happened?
That is very, very unusual for Jake Pates.
That's like that bull ride that the guy's riding the most incredible bull for like 7 seconds to get thrown off before the bell at 8. Come on.
And Jake's edge control work is some of the best in snowboarding, so to see him go down in the flat bottom is a heartbreaker.
And he started off with this double cork 12. It was perfect.
Into the front side double cork 1080. So just a ridiculous first 2 hits from Jake Pates.
And I mean, he charged and went huge on every wall. Look at this.
I loved that.
Just not enough pressure on that heel edge. He slips out in the flat bottom, but I love that inverted frontside 5. He almost pulls the last 360 around with his hand.
Yeah, that score does not reflect the run. Jake Pates knows that he knows that he did all that he could there. A great performance from him. A shot backstage of our leader.
And this is reminiscent now, the shots of Red Gerard.
In slopestyle.
Slopestyle yesterday, just playing the waiting game here, seeing if anybody can knock him out of the top spot. And again, I'll go back to the semifinals, where this man right here, Pat Bergner, was in 8th place. And on his second and final run, he put down a score that got him up into the top 3. So there is the Berg Air, the Michael Chuck to Fakie.
And interesting that he's struggled opening up out of that Berg Air in his first 2 runs.
And that double Michael Chuck is what was giving him a little bit of trouble in the first 2 runs.
But gets that double cork 1080 that he had problems on.
as the front.
And
wow.
lands the 1260, hands go down on the wall.
Frontside 12 to end it. Pat Bergner just put himself in contention, I think.
It was packed full of difficulty. If you really break down his run, especially with this start, nobody does this trick. It's his own real version of it. And then the switch backside 720 tail.
That is a terrifying trick to try in a super pipe. Right into the double Michael chuck.
And then on this hit, the frontside double cork 1080, he fell. On the earlier runs, he lands it that time. Links it with the cab double cork 1080. And then one more hit for him. Goes for the frontside 1260. Oh, but those hands. And the judges, when it comes to the execution score.
Look, you're right. You're right. 15.6 for execution.
I love that difficulty.
Well, and I feel like on a day like today, when your top 3 runs from Scotty, Rabu, and Yuto are near perfect, even a slight hand drag on a frontside 12 is going to leave you in that 6th place spot.
Look at Scotty James. You're getting a glimpse. He is literally in his 3rd run in his mind.
And that right there tells me that he's not expecting to take a victory lap. The fact that he's doing that, he knows that Rabu and Yuto and even Dani Davis are hot on his heels, and they want the win.
He's told me that before. When he's put together his performance he did at the World Championships when he won, and I said, what made you just go bigger, better execution and everything? He goes, because there are some very fierce competitors in the names of Yuto Tatsuka and Rabu Katayama.
That's what greatness is. You know, you see it with Mark McMorris, you see it with Jamie Anderson, Chloe Kim, Kelly Clark. It's not just getting to the top for a brief period of time. It's getting there and staying motivated and driven and staying in that top spot.
And in that piece, we heard him say specifically, I made a choice 5 years ago to no longer be the middle of the pack.
Yep.
I was not satisfied with that. It was not fun for me, and I had to figure out how to do the work to get to this level and stay there.
Well, there's a look at the US Open women's halfpipe champion, Maddie Mastro. What a performance she put together earlier in the women's competition.
Did I see World Tour top 10 women's pro surfer Coco Ho in the background there? I know she's heading to Australia in a couple of weeks. What a way to train up at the US Open. But how about this story here? Kent Callister getting back on the horse after a big slam.
What? That was the biggest air to fakie we have seen today. Straight into a cab double cork 1080, into the double crippler. Backside 900. And frontside double cork 1080. And not able to put it down. But Kent Callister, we tip our caps to you. That was quite a showing.
You have to give him a lot of credit. Didn't take his first run, was still unsure whether he'd be able to compete, but look at the size of that.
He had
air to fakie.
3 pokes in that air.
Look at this.
Because it was so.
Oh.
Wow. And then that cab double cork 1080. And this was my favorite trick of his run. Mid-run, double crippler, frontside grab.
And all super blind and floaty down that wall.
And then the backside 900 into the frontside double cork 1080. And it looked like maybe he opened up a little bit too early instead of staying tucked.
You got to give him so much credit, though. Putting together those 2 runs and dropping into the half pipe here at the US Open Finals.
What a day. from Kent Callister. What a showing. What a US Open halfpipe final. I mean, this is the crown jewel of competitive snowboarding. This is the snowboarders contest, and this is the big show, Saturday afternoon, 10 of the world's best.
And this is the event that, you know, snowboarders drive to from all over the country. I've met so many kids that are here like this is their dream. They've always wanted to come to this event, have driven from 2-3 states away to come and be here and witness the event that really, like you said, by snowboarders, for snowboarders, and that has consistently moved this sport forward.
And if you ever get a chance to go to a competition, go stand on the side of the wall, the side of the halfpipe, and watch how high these riders go above your head.
Yeah, there's no replay that can replace what that experience is that you're talking about today.
It's epic.
Just puts you in full awe. Quine Ki Lee in the 8th spot right now. This Korean rider is gonna send it.
That was an enormous backside air. Frontside 1260 into the backside 900. And the frontside 1080. And then the cab double cork 1080. What's he got on the last hit? Frontside 14. Wow. That was ridiculous. I will say, just being an announcer here, he did lack a little bit of amplitude as he worked his way down the pipe. However, the trick difficulty was through the roof.
It was
Those
full
combos
of rotations.
Were ridiculous.
Yeah, I love that he started off with the Indy. That was gorgeous.
Puts his hands on the wall on the frontside 1260. But you said it, Tom, just the combinations, and there was full of rotations.
We had Terry Hawkinson in the semifinals, right? What did he say? You can do all the rotations in the world, but if you cannot put them to the sky, if you cannot send those tricks to the sky, they're not going to get you where you need to get.
And that's where the amplitude score, we'll have to keep our eyes on the amplitude score and the execution, as well as overall impression, because that's where I think it's going to lack. Yep, execution and the amplitude score are the lower ones.
Yeah, that's what halfpipe riding ultimately comes down to, in my opinion, is amplitude. That is, it's the international language. I don't care what language you speak.
Go big or go home.
Exactly.
Everyone understands that. But you know what? Hats off to Lee. I mean, gets taken out on the first wall twice and then comes back and puts down that run. And look at Scotty James, that mental preparation, jogging, still taking himself through what that run is going to look like. That's, like you said earlier, like this is the type of behavior that's reserved for the elite champions that you think of in all of your favorite sports. Even Tom Brady, who I'm not a fan of, T-Bird, I know you love him, but that's the thing that makes him great.
Yep, absolutely.
Doing that
preparation, execution.
Tom Brady's probably watching right now going, really? Really, Sal? I thought we had something. Derrick Livingston from Aurora, Canada. The old man of this field, 28 years old. He and Dani Davis bringing up the AARP section of the field.
It starts out with a giant frontside 1260 into a backside 360. Switch backside 900.
And that switch back 9 is a scary, scary trick to do in a super pipe. You see on that switch back 9, that was an excellent angle from the deck. You see how blind it is and how big he is, how big he's going and how far he's traveling down that pipe. You can't spot your landing until the very last second.
Yeah, it's a blind landing just like this one, but you're going swish and switch backside. We've talked about this. It is the hardest trick in a half pipe.
Without a doubt. So there's the cab double cork 1080.
I love how he falls into that second half.
You know what else I love about the pipe final is all of the slope style riders from the men's and the women's field and the women's pipe finalists and semifinalists, they all kind of congregate down in the corral. So it gets this very communal, like exciting atmosphere down there, as well as the fans right there.
And it is tradition, right? At the Open, this is always the last and final event, men's super pipe. And it's great to see everyone here to celebrate what has been 4 days of just nonstop snowboarding. When we're done, we will have seen 288 runs of the greatest snowboarding happening in competition on the planet.
Wow.
We could just round it up to 300.
Let's call it an even 300.
Yes.
Let's call it a hard 3. We'll call it a hard, soft 3. Louis Vito, you have been crushing it yourself all week, sir. Just a joy to do this broadcast with you. I love calling your runs, but I like working with you even more.
Thank you, thank you. I'm having a great time, but it is absolutely nuking down here at the Halfpipe.
I was just about to ask you, how's that new snow affecting it as we see Ruka Hirano about to drop in? Are the riders saying anything?
You know, not so far. Everyone's been pretty much coming down with a smile on their face. This is the US Open. Everyone is so hyped to be here. This is a historic competition, and to be in the finals, that is something to brag about.
That man would know, Mr. Louis Vito. He's been in plenty of these.
Here's Ruka starting off with the front side 900 tail grab. I mean, he is the future of halfpipe snowboarding for Japan, and just coming up a little short, not quite in getting that backside 9 around. But I can say this, Ruka put on a show and definitely made his name one to watch for the future.
And at 16 years of age, Louis, like, these are the moments, right, where you learn, and these build you towards being capable for the future, wouldn't you say?
I agree, and you know, these young Japanese riders, they're so poised. Like, you were competing with the best in the world, and at 16 years old, he just comes here, does his job, and stomps, and doesn't even look like it affects him at all.
Making the final is the win. Nice little shot of, I think there's Haley Langland. I see Red Gerard, Brock Crouch. This is just a snowboard A-list star festival down in the corral.
Yeah, you want an autograph if you're a kid?
Yeah, that's the zone.
That's the zone. That's the hotbed of Autograph-ville.
Yeah, there's no other contest where you will see riders sitting on their boards at the bottom.
We talk about Dani Davis and his incredible, unique style. Where does that come from?
I feel like I'm at a point where I watch videos, like old videos, like Noah Selaznick, Terrier, Damian Sanders, like, and just seeing stuff you haven't seen in a while that you want to bring back. Like, just finding stuff you're like, I'm going to steal that and try that tomorrow on the hill. And if it works and you can start to do it big, you know, then, yeah, you start to put it in your run.
That's just beautiful. Here's Dani Davis saying, I go to the historical documents. I go to the founding fathers, the building blocks of this sport, to see what works for now.
Well, and then inadvertently, that has a trickle-down effect on the younger field, because you see other riders doing tricks that are obviously inspired by Dani Davis's run. So that right there is full circle, respecting the heritage.
It makes him a steward of the culture.
I love that Pop-Tart frontside nose bone, and look at that McTwist traveling 40+ feet down the half pipe.
I just want a picture of the top of that for my wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want him to go back up actually and just do one more McTwist for us.
Well, and what's interesting about what Dani said too is I could see in 15, 20, 25, 30 years, pipe riders being interviewed at the US Open saying, I've found that my style is derived looking back on riders like Dani Davis.
And we could be frank here, there were more than a few years where the style aspect of snowboarding, especially in the pipe, had lost the plot.
It was sacrificed for progression, I think. Now that has caught back up because of people like Dani who can incorporate tricks like that with the big double corks and front 10s and back 9s and stuff like that.
You're exactly right, that element has now caught back up to that progression.
And it's cool to see that the kids are concerned with it too, and they want it to not just be able to do the trick, but have it be what snowboarding has always been about. Can you look cool doing it?
Yep. What is going through Scotty James's head right now as we got 2 riders left to drop in front of him?
It looks like he was cleaning his goggles right there, so at least giving him something to do outside of his head. Jake Burton and Coco Ho. That's definitely a pairing I didn't think I was going to see this week. But just like we saw with Red Gerard, making that choice to stay in your own space.
You think it's worse to be in that position at the top of the course or at the bottom of the course with all the homies?
Ooh.
It's a little lonelier up top.
I'm obsessive. I think I'd want to be in my own space, not with the homies.
I'd want to be down.
I'm with the homies afterwards.
I'd want to be with the homies. Distract me. Don't let me think about it. Don't let it get ahead of itself in my own head there.
Yuto Totsuka in the semifinals was sitting in the 8th spot. Scotty James was in 1st place. And Yuto Totsuka said, not only am I going to make the cut, but I'm going to take that #1 spot. Now he finds himself in the reverse. Can he step up yet again?
Huge frontside 540 into the backside 900. That was massive.
Frontside double cork 14 to the cab 1080 and a 1260 to round it out.
Did you see the compression coming out of that final hit? That was ridiculous that he held on to that trick.
He looked like he got blown out of the barrel. He was so tucked.
Unbelievable. The compression, the speed, the G-forces.
Okay, emotions aside, is this going to be enough?
So he goes backside 900 here. Scotty has a backside 1260. He does do this frontside double cork 1440. That's something that Scotty is not doing. The cab 1080. Does 2 grabs on that and then finishes off with a frontside double cork 1260. They are both finishing off with this same trick.
Yeah, this is going to be super interesting to see where it comes in at.
Big, big, big score across difficulty and execution. Will the flow be there as well? It will be there, but it will not be enough. As Totsuka does make his way to the podium, but not into that #1 spot.
And now there is 1 rider left to unseat Mr. Scotty James.
Our runner-up finisher of 2018, who told us in the piece that we played in the semifinals, winning the Burton US Open is the most important thing in his list of being a professional snowboarder.
The penultimate run. Will Rabu Katayama.
And Scotty James is aware of the fact that Rabu is capable.
Absolutely. He wants to keep that unbeaten streak alive.
Well, not only that, he wants to win the US Open.
Right.
This is an event he's never stood on top of the podium before. It would mean the world to him. It's the Burton US Open to get that win.
So excited, and ladies and gentlemen, you know what we need you to do right now.
Scotty James has a 92. Rabu Katayama, his high score is a 90.49. That's a point and a half. We know he has more. This right now, this is one of those beautiful pieces of history in the Burton US Open.
Can Rabu Katayama do it on his final run? That was a gigantic method. Into the front side 1440. Cab double cork 1080 right there. Then the front side 900. He's got to end this strong. backside 12, and he can't put it down. That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
A wrap, and you see Scotty James collapse at the acceptance of this dream materialized.
This is Shaun White-esque. A run like this puts you on a whole new pedestal of competitive half-pipe snowboarding. This is about legacy. It's about greatness, and Scotty James has earned every ounce of that.
This was not easy for him. You go back to the semifinals and he had that crash right before, just didn't look on point in the semifinals, qualified second, came into the finals. These riders pushed him.
A tremendous performance by Rabu Katayama. Look how far he sent that backside air to start it off.
And then did the 1440 here.
The cab double cork 10.
And then a frontside 900, but this was the trick.
Yeah,
going for a backside 1260.
And he never even reached for the grab. He knew, I think, when he left the lip that that was not going to come through. But what a performance by Katayama.
Oh, that first run he did was magic. And he came down and you could see the excitement just in his face. He's like, I can't even believe I did that. I just did that run here at the Burton US Open.
And if you're wondering what those other humans are doing in the pipe between runs, this is the Burton US Open. Poaching is part of the culture. And I'm sure that I put money on the fact that probably Terry Hawkinson was one of those poachers. This crowd is going to go nuts. You see the Australian Ryu down the bottom for Scotty James. This victory lap, undefeated the entire season.
And that is so understated. That is such a hard thing to do with the level of competition in competitive pipe riding today. To think about winning every single contest that you enter is ridiculous. And how about a switch method? How about that?
So great.
And he's just having fun. We saw a nice shot of his brother and dad down the bottom. Look at this. High fives for the crowd.
I love it. That crowd's like, I'm never gonna wash this glove.
And it's, you know what, it's so great. It's such a champion thing to do, to acknowledge that, hey, without the fans at the Open, you don't have this energy. And what a beautiful thing to decide, you know what, I'm gonna go salute the fans.
Yeah.
That's my victory lap. Scotty James is your 2019 Burton US Open Men's Halfpipe Champion.
Yeah, what an incredible showing. What an incredible season for Scotty James. And I gotta say, hats off to Rabu Katayama, Yuto, Tatsuka, Dani Davis. I guarantee you, knowing Scotty as I do, that he is so appreciative of those other riders in the field, because Scotty, it's tough to motivate yourself when you're far and away the best pipe rider in the world. You need someone to push you to progress.
Kelly Clark, in our meeting 2 nights ago, you know, she said, you know, that term of it's yours to Scotty James is to lose takes away from what the other riders do in competition to make it possible for you to step up and do your thing and win an event. And that's a classic example, and you really put that in the context perfectly, T-Bird.
That is just raw emotion from Scotty James right there.
He adds his name to the legendary lore, the historical documents of this Burton US Open, in existence since 1982. This is snowboarding's competition. And what a great field all the way down. Incredible performances all the way down, but it was Scotty James' week in the end. Louis?
Scotty, you have now continued to keep your undefeated season going. but you get to engrave your name amongst legends, US Open champion. How are you feeling?
Man, I can't find words that describe how I feel right now. I'm pinching myself. It was in 2007 I came to my first US Open, and I watched everyone ride, and I was with my mom, and I said I want to be in the finals one day, and here I am. You know, I came out and I stayed on my toes all day. Everyone has been riding so well, and I just wanted to ride my snowboard the way I do, and I was able to do that and just let the rest happen. So I'm absolutely over the moon.
You took a fall before semifinals, got up, got through here. What was the mindset coming into finals?
Yeah, well, I took a bit of a spill on a trick in semifinals and rattled me a little bit, but also woke me up. You know, I think I kind of needed that a little bit. You know, it's been an amazing season, and also coming off second in semis definitely put a bit of a fire under my butt, and I definitely didn't like finishing there. So I came out today and just really wanted to put on a show for myself and everyone that came up here to watch us. It's just absolutely amazing.
Scotty James, your 2019 US Open snowboard champion. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
You could see the way he smiled when he heard those words from Louis' lips, like, yeah.
I got it.
I got it. I'm down for that title.
Yeah.
And again, I just love the fact that that victory lap, he chose to go and salute the fans. You saw him again mention how much they meant, and as well as the rest of the field pushing him.
He's entered 6 contests this year. He's won 6, and to cap it off with winning the Burton US Open, something he's never done before. What a way to finish it off.
Let's take a look at our top 3 runs. I mean, the entire field just pushed us to this place all week.
Yeah, starting with this kid right here, the young Japanese rider Yuto Tatsuka. This was his third and final run. Starting things off, there's a big old frontside 5 into a backside 9. And how about this? Oh, just a frontside 14.
Super casual. We said that this would be an event that would show us what the new guard, the future, would look like.
It's looking good.
It's looking great for that kid at 17 years of age.
Yeah, Yuto rode incredible today. And then this kid right here, another young Japanese rider.
And Rabu Katayama on his first run drops in and goes higher than we have seen before. Watch this.
I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger frontside 1080 than Rabu put down in his first run. Cab double cork 1080 into the frontside 9. Absolutely ridiculous run from Rabu Katayama.
And not only was that the first run, he just impressed the judges, but even he himself was saying, I can't believe I just did that.
He was almost speechless when Louis interviewed him after his first run. Look at how psyched he is. But it wasn't long after this run that this happened.
Yeah, Rabu set the stage and Scotty said, thank you, I will take it from here.
Scotty James dropping in, going switch on this first hit, doing a switch backside 1080 to start things out, and combines it with a backside double cork 1260. And then a frontside 1080 into a cab 1080, both so giant, and then a frontside 1260 to finish things off.
That run easily could have been a 95.
Easily.
Easily.
And you know, Tina, you said it. I think I just spotted that little 1.5 bump that Scotty James had, and that was the switch back 10 to start the run.
Yeah.
That it's harder, it's higher up in the pipe, it's more risk, it's more reward. Scotty James earned this win today.
Well, not only did he do that, but then he combined it with a backside double cork 1260. That a trick, that in and of itself is an incredibly difficult trick.
Whew. Finals day, amazing. 300 runs of joy. Let us know what you thought about this final. Hit us up at Red Bull Snow, at Burton Snowboards. You know the hashtag is Burton US Open. I know you guys are still watching on Facebook via Burton and Red Bull, so please let us know your feelings. I mean, this was, once again, history. And the men's and women's finals, not disappointing at all. And if what you like what you saw today on Red Bull TV, guess what? We do this for a living. Download the Red Bull TV app for free, and you can discover so much more. Films, shows, profiles on your favorite riders from across the action sports culture. Be part of the experience and download the Red Bull app. Final thoughts?
I feel like this US Open was the personification of progression. I feel like the level of snowboarding was pushed in every single event, men and women, every aspect, no matter what. Nothing was compromised, nothing was sacrificed, from, you know, Matty Mastro doing the double crippler to Mark McMorris, not just settling to clean up a run and instead going for the triple cork backside 16, to Scotty James coming out run 1 and saying, I'm going to win this thing right now. No safety runs. That was kind of the theme of the 2019 US Open.
And not only was it the progression, but adding the style, like we were talking about earlier, bringing that snowboard style and just that overall passion for snowboarding. You could really sense it with riders doing their grabs and boosting out of the half pipe and off the jumps. And you know, Burton US Open, it's a snowboarding event by snowboarders for snowboarders, and it really feels like that. And it's just, this really summed it up, the progression, the style, snowboarding.
Magically. I thank you, T-Bird, Tina, for spending your time with me here in our Magic Couch. This is an honor to be able to call this event with you guys. And after 2 decades of doing snowboard contests, it still feels like the first time. And that's why we love what we get to do. If you missed any of this event, or you just want to relive the great moments from this 2019 Burton US Open, go to redbull.tv and hit the heat analyzer, and you can go by rider, by event, by run, and just relive this entire thing. On behalf of our entire hard-working crew across the platform here, both from the Burton side and the Red Bull side, our production team, cameramen, etc. I can go all the way down, our social teams, etc. So many people work so hard to bring you this event. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy some highlights from Men's Pipe, and we will see you guys next year.